What's up, fellow photographers? Ryan here, and in this video I'm going to be going through my entire post-processing workflow for a portrait I shot of my daughter, which I featured in my last video. And if you haven't seen that video, I do encourage you to go back and check it out because I go through the entire photo shoot process, and that includes everything from the backstory to my thought process to equipment to lighting setup, all that kind of stuff. So go check that out, and then if you want to dive a little bit deeper into the post-processing, come back and check this video out. There's a link in the description of this video to the other video and a link in the description of the other video back to this video, so you can easily find your way back. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so of all the headshots I took of my daughter, this is my favorite, and I'm going to start by doing some quick basic adjustments just to get some of the brightness and exposure correct. So I'm going to be taking down the highlights a little bit and also increasing shadows. That's going to help reduce some of the shininess and brightness interface and also bring out a little bit more detail. I'll also go through and add a little bit of contrast by adjusting the black and white sliders there. Now I'm going to go in and soften the skin, and to do that I'm going to use the brush tool and use the skin softening effect that's built into Lightroom. Basically what this does is it allows you to create a mask, and then it's going to reduce clarity on the skin. And there's a couple ways you can go about doing this. You can either create one big long mask that covers the entire face and neck, and then you can go back and delete the mask over areas like the eyes and the eyebrow and the mouth. Or you can do like what I'm doing here and just paint over the areas that you want to soften. In some cases the skin softening effect works pretty well, but oftentimes I will find myself going back and adjusting the value of the clarity slider up just a little bit, because I find that the default softening tool softens the skin sometimes a little bit too much. It's also important to note that in this section of the video and for the remainder of the video, it is going at 4 times speed, because otherwise it would be a 20+ minute video, and ain't nobody got time for that. Now I'm using a new brush tool layer, and I'm going to go and create a mask over areas like the eyebrows and the mouth and add a little bit of clarity. This is going to help them stick out just a little bit more than usual. And now to brighten up the teeth, and again I'm going to be using another brush with the built-in teeth whitening effect. And it basically just kind of desaturates and brightens up the teeth a little bit and makes them pop. Now I will select the Iris Enhance effect and go in and touch up the eyes a little bit. Typically after I use this brush, I'll go in and add a tiny bit more exposure than what the default is, just to make them pop a little bit more. Alright, now it's time to go in and fix up some of the blemishes. And these could be little zits on her face, maybe a tiny little cuts, or just imperfections that wouldn't normally be on her face. So in other words, I would leave things like moles and things like that, but as you can see here, for example, she's got a hair that's a little bit out of place that I'm using the spot removal tool to remove. So just kind of go over the hair and make sure that it's on heel as opposed to clone, and usually it's pretty good at taking it right out. Alright, so now I'm going through and reducing some of the lines underneath her eyes, again with the spot removal tool, but the only difference is here is that I'm reducing the opacity a little bit so that the effect of the spot removal tool isn't so strong, so that the lines are reduced but not completely removed. Quick crop to line everything up in the frame, and now I'm going to try to soften the background a little bit and see if I can get rid of some of that wrinkle in the fabric. And to do that, I will use a brush tool, create a mask layer, and see if I can turn down the sharpness to soften it a little bit. And that's basically it. I'm pretty happy with the photo at this point. I'm just going to go back through and make some last minute final tweaks. A little white balance adjustment to try to get that skin tone just right. And lastly, I'll scroll down and put in a slight vignette just to draw a little bit more attention to her face. And that's pretty much it. So you got the before shot on the left and the after shot on the right, and I'm pretty pleased with this picture. And that's how I post-process my portrait shots. Thanks for watching.